Okay, we're gonna make some Decorator's Buttercream frosting, and this is a very practical recipe. I'm gonna show you just as you're probably gonna make it out of your kitchen, wrappers and all, okay? So you're going to need shortening. I use these shortening sticks because it's much easier to use these instead of measuring out shortening, because you know you have to get a measuring cup and use water and all of that. So you're going to need a cup of shortening. Oh, by the way, I'm making a double recipe, so you can half this recipe if you just want a little bit to work with. But in my decorating experience, you always want to make more frosting than you think you're going to need, because if you run out of color or you run out of frosting, you have to start all over again, and it may not be the same consistency. And we are going for very specific consistencies for decorating. So, okay, and then you're going to need a cup of butter. A cup of butter is actually equal to 2 sticks of butter. So each one of these is a half a cup. So we need 2 of these. Again, with the shortening, I'm using the shortening sticks. We also need a cup of that. That's equal to 1 stick of shortening. You're going to need 10 cups of confectioner's sugar. Now, in a bag of powdered sugar or confectioner's sugar, there's approximately 9 cups, just a little over 9 cups. So to double this recipe, you're going to need 2 bags of powdered sugar and just take a cup out of 1 bag, as I've done here. It's helpful to pre-sift your powdered sugar, so you get all of the lumps in it. Powdered sugar is already sifted, but you want to have it nice and fine like this. To this powdered sugar, I have also added a teaspoon of cream of tartar. It gives nice peaks to your frosting. It's not necessary, but I like to put that in there. It doesn't change the taste or anything. You're also going to need milk, okay? Salt is going to cut down on the sweetness of your frosting, okay? And the other thing, and most importantly, you need a stand mixer. You can try it with a hand mixer, but I can't tell you how many hand mixers I burnt out trying to make Decorator's frosting because it's pretty stiff. And when we get into royal icing, you absolutely have to have a stand mixer for that. So I'm going to put my beater attachment on to the mixer. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cream the butter and the shortening together. So just simply put that in there. I'm not using all the cute little bowls and stuff they use for cooking shows. This is very practical. I'm going to throw that in there. Okay. And we're also going to put the shortening in the bowl. And we're going to cream those up together. Make sure your bowl is in properly. Scrape down your sides. And now we're going to start adding the powdered sugar. The best way to do this is just to put it on low and start adding your powdered sugar. And we're going to turn this up a little bit too. I'm going to go ahead and just put in a bunch of powdered sugar here. This is at the point where I start adding some of the milk. Okay, so we're just going to add a few tablespoons of milk here. We're going to start with 2. Okay. before you add any more milk, add your flavorings. Now you have your choice here. This is butter emulsion. You can get this at cake decorating supply companies, or you can get it at Michael's actually. It's very good flavoring, and since we've added butter to this, you're not getting a pure white frosting. So if you add regular vanilla to it, it's going to darken it even more. So you have some choices here. You can go ahead and add regular vanilla if you're not too concerned with having white frosting, but just know it is going to be cream colored. So if you're planning on doing a wedding cake or something like that, you probably want to use a whitener for your frosting or all shortening in your frosting. So I'm going to use this butter vanilla emulsion. It tastes really, really great. And I'm going to use 1.5 teaspoons of this. You have the option also of using, there's vanilla powder that you can use. And you can also, I'm also going to add a little bit of almond to mine. So I'm going to use, some people don't like almonds, so I'm going to use a 1/2 teaspoon of almond flavoring. And that's good because that's all I had right there. Okay. And I'm going to use a teaspoon of this butter vanilla emulsion. You can see it's a little bit thicker. I'll throw that in there too. Okay. Actually, we're going to add 2 teaspoons of that. Okay. Okay, let's stir that up now. Remember, you're going to be putting this through a bag. This is way too thick. You don't want to be able to do that. So let's add a little bit more milk. Only add a tablespoon at a time. So we've added 2 tablespoons. Here's 3, and I'm going to actually add 2 more. Maybe just 1 more tablespoon of milk. Okay, don't want to add too much milk because then it gets too thin and then you have to add more sugar and it ruins it. And then we're also going to add, to cut down on the sweetness, add just a pinch of salt. Maybe just a little bit more. About the consistency you want. It's slightly sticky. It's not making a dough ball anymore. So this is our first level of Decorator's buttercream. Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to take a portion of this buttercream and put it aside. So let's take some out, put it in here. And I'm going to actually take out most of this. This is what you're going to be making your flowers with and stand-up decorations, that kind of thing. So I want to take out a couple, just enough to fill this bowl. Okay. Now I'm going to start thinning this down, and I'm going to do it by tablespoons. So I'm going to add another tablespoon milk. What you're aiming for here then is 3 different consistencies. The first one that I took out is very stiff, and I can put a spatula in it. You can see that it's pretty thick, but not so thick that you're not going to be able to squeeze it through a bag. But you can see that it will make nice lines in your decorations. This will be used for like flowers and frostings that you want to build up a little bit. Okay. Then the second consistency you're going for will also hold a spatula, but it's not quite as thick. It's just a little bit. This is actually medium consistency. And once you get good at decorating and you have an idea of how the bag feels in your hand and how the frosting feels, and you're getting nice consistent lines without breaks in your pressure that you apply to the bag, this particular consistency, you can just make the whole frosting batch like this. You won't have to thin down like this. You can just use this. It'll work for everything. Okay, but until you get good at it, you want to kind of thin stuff down. And again, you thin down by just adding a tablespoon at a time of milk until you get the right consistency. Okay, so this is thick, this is medium, and then this thin one over here, you can actually see it has a little bit of shine to it. And typically you don't want to take your frosting to this level, especially if you're going to use borders, and you know, it really doesn't hold up too well for frostings. And when you put a spatula in it, it's going to flop over. This is actually a little on the thick side probably still, but once you get it kind of shiny, that's when you want to stop, okay? Because if it gets too thin, it's not going to work. Okay, so once you have this down to where you want it, the 3 different consistencies, then you're ready to get started decorating. Okay, so thanks for watching, and we will see you in class.